Welcome. In the next 10 or 15 minutes, I'm going to share with you how to create more in less time. And I want to be clear about what I mean by more. It's not necessarily more in terms of quantity, but really what I'm getting at is more in terms of quality. And sometimes when you end up creating a deeper level of quality, you can also create a higher quantity of results in less time. So, we're going to be looking at using the wheel of power to create everything that you desire. Why am I talking about power here? So let me start by sharing my mission in life, and that is to create what I want, everything that I desire, and to specifically do it in the way that I want to. I'm a manifesting generator, and I am very much not someone who does well being put in a box. So, being able to create in the way that I want to means that I need to be connected to inner guidance. And that also connects me to a deeper level of power in manifesting. Why power? Here's another answer. I am a mother. And as a mother, what's most important is creating the most deeply impactful work in the shortest amount of time. And the way to do that, again, is to connect to the depth of power within me. So it's all about turning within, going deep within to then create with this uh, limitless power that we have as human beings, as spirits, as souls, as mothers. Why am I on this path? And I'm guessing you're here because you're very much like me. I am creating a business that is more than just a money-making machine. I'm not saying this to deny the importance of money. Money is still important in my creative process, in my spiritual growth and spiritual awakening. But the business is this pathway to spiritual exploration and spiritual growth. So it's a way to continually transform who I am so that I become a more and more conscious being and I play with creativity, which is the nature of being human. And through doing this, I am connecting and living my purpose. So if this sounds like you, then you're going to really love what you're going to hear in this video and the next videos coming after this. Why power? Okay, so here's where I really break down why I'm talking about power here. If we look at the physics equation for power, it is power is equal to the change in energy divided by time. So if we want to decrease the time that we work, which is one of the my, deepest desires as a mother is to be able to create more results, more powerful results in a shorter amount of time because I have other priorities with my time besides being present with work. And so if we look at this equation, when we decrease time, then that means in order to have the same energy input, we end up with a larger amount of power. So hopefully that makes sense. If we want to decrease time in this equation and maintain the energy as the same, so keep this constant, then that means we would end up with a larger number here. Okay, so increasing power allows us to create the same result if we decrease the time. So in other ways, in other words, to decrease the time that I work or to increase the results. So say you're already working like 20 hours a week, but you want to have a higher level of income. So maybe you want to go from part-time, quote unquote, part-time income to quote, full-time income. Then the other thing that you can do is increase the result. So increasing that result would be increasing the amount of money that you're making. And to do that while maintaining time the same, you need to increase the power. So that's why we're talking about power. That's kind of the material explanation, the physics explanation of how power relates to time and results that you're creating. But spiritually, why I am so connected to power is on this experiential level, that when I become more congruent with my spirit, I am more tapped into that infinite source of power that is greater than me, right? So, this work that I'm going to introduce you to, the wheel of power, the elements of the wheel of power, are the components that you need to be paying attention to if you want to embody more power in your work. And what that does when you embody more power is you can either increase your result if you maintain the same amount of time that you're working, or you can have a similar result with a decreased amount of time. Or you can, increase everything with increased power, and increase result. But here's the elements that you need to be paying attention to in your journey, to create that result. So the wheel of power has 6 spokes on it. So I really love this model, this map of a wheel. And I'm going to tell you why. But first, let me just show you the components. There are 6 components of power to be paying attention to through your journey, your spiritual journey, your growth journey. So we start here at the top with decision, and we come down, and that's connected with embodiment. Then we come over here to leadership and across to intuition. And then we come over to action, and across from action, we have rhythm. Now, at the center of the wheel is the hub, and this is a very, very important component of the wheel. The hub of the wheel of power is desire. And the wheel would be useless without the hub. So likewise, our ability to embody and create with a higher level of power depends on desire. So there's this beautiful description of the wheel as being this space of emptiness, or I'm sorry, the hub is the space of emptiness on which everything depends. So I kind of love that image of desire is just this space. And from this space emerges movement, and emerges power, and emerges physical creating in our world. So desire is the key. Without desire, without this hub of desire, then applying power or using this wheel of power is not going to be useful. The other component of the wheel that is not specifically written on that image is movement. So powerful movement is the actualization of desires being dependent upon movement. So this means that one way I think of it is that we're always moving between the spokes, staying in action, not staying at one area or one element of the wheel at a time, but we are constantly shifting from one to the other, which is creating that movement. So the 3 pillars, the 3 main components of the wheel are the spokes that are across from each other. And I want to introduce it in as these stages. So you can think of these 3 pillars as 3 stages of a growth journey. So because of the way that I view my business and my work as a way for me to live my purpose and become more spiritually awakened, then I see every action that I take or every desire that comes through me is a soul's calling. It's a desire that is, coming through me from that which is greater than me. And so this journey of embodying power is a transformational process. So every goal, every desire that comes through me and I decide to create is a way for me to continuously expand. So it's this transformational process. And the 3 stages of this process we go through on this wheel. So we have the first stage being inner transformation, which involves decision and embodiment. It's a very felt sense experience. The next stage is outer manifestation, or another way that I am describing it as is inspired and innovative action. So we're taking that inner transformation that we experience in the first stage and manifesting it into the world through our actions. And those components within the wheel are leadership and intuition. And then the third stage in this embodiment of power, this transformational journey, is attunement. And in this stage on the wheel, we're looking at our actions and rhythm. So in this video, I'm just going to give you a quick introduction to each of these elements. And then if you're like, yeah, this is really interesting, then I invite you to continue on with the remaining videos in this 5-part video series. So let's look at decision. Decision is where we begin. It is where we take our desire, that the space in the middle of the wheel, and say, yes, this is what I am going to create. So we connect with desire. We often have many desires, and we get to decide which one we take action on and decide. And it's almost like, putting our stake in the sand and bringing that desire into a physical manifestation. I love the description or the etymology of decision as being to make the cut. So this is where we look at the smorgasbord of desires that we may have and we say, here we go. It's the first place where we bring in structure, that masculine structure, to what we create and what we manifest. So we're making the cut and we are creating a clear definition of our goal that we're going to create. That begins with decision. Next is embodiment. Embodiment, I'm going to go into more in the next video because there's a lot more to say about it, but it's basically to live in the frequency of your goal, to experience the felt sense of this process of transformation, of embodying power. The third element is leadership. Leadership is to live and to act from self-authorization. So this is the way I am describing leadership. It's really coming into this place of, I choose what I create and how I create it. And you're leading yourself through this process, both internally in your head and body, and externally in the world and in your relationships. Then we have intuition. So when we begin to further define through our leadership what we are creating, then immediately what comes up is intuitive ideas, intuitive actions that we can act upon. So it's listening to that inspired guidance that comes up when we make a decision and we start describing what we want to create and leading ourselves through this creation. Once we have intuition, we bring it to life and form and into motion through action. It is a necessary component of manifestation, of bringing that intuitive, inspired idea into action, into form in the world through our action. And then finally, rhythm. So action and rhythm are the areas of the wheel where we begin to attune what our creation really looks like. And rhythm includes a few different components, some being rest, embodiment, relationship, and action. So how are we um, allowing all of these things to dance together? That is rhythm. So through practicing all of these elements of the wheel of power, we allow ourselves to undergo transformation. We are both active leaders in this process, and we surrender to the flow, to inner guidance. All right, I love this wheel because it contains both the masculine of structure and action and the feminine of flow and feeling and intuition. All right, so this is something really very exciting to me, and I love sharing about the wheel. If you are interested in learning more deeply about the individual components of the wheel of power and this stage of embodying your power through a transformational process, through setting a goal for yourself and then allowing yourself to lead and also dance with inspiration to become the person who has that thing that you desire, then I invite you to continue on this journey and check out the next video, part 2, where we will go deeper into the first stage of embodying your power, which is inner transformation. I will see you there.